welcome back to Ogre Speed Shop. So we got some parts. So we got some gaskets here. We got brakes on the way. So we gotta get this thing back on the road and driving. That's what we're doing on this video. We're gonna get this transmission put back together, put it back in, get the brakes done, and hopefully get this thing driving again. Let's go ahead and get into this video. So before we get into doing the transmission or the brakes, just want to show you something real quick that I added. If you look right there, see this little bracket? This made a return spring bracket for the to be able to hook up to the throttle, because it does stick a little bit. So I want to make sure I could prevent that. So I added a little spring to it. You should always have some kind of throttle return spring on your carburetors. So the gasket kit I got was a Felpro one. This is for an SM465. The only problem is this has a spacer for the PTO. This only comes with 2 gaskets for the side plates. So I bought some material. This stuff's real nice because you got like 4 different types of material or something in here. So you can just make your own gasket that way. So since I have a spacer, it's gonna be really easy to make a gasket. So if I were to venture a guess, I'd say these gaskets are this material right here. And like I said, you know, there's multiple types of material in here you can try, but that looks like it's the same as what's in here. So I'm gonna make my gasket out of that. So just like that, we have a gasket. So I just used a pair of scissors, a box cutter, and I have, what did I do with it? Got some punches. There they are. Just use a 3/8 punch. You get these at Harbor Freight. I think these are even Pittsburgh. 3/8 China, yeah, probably. But it worked, and looks almost like the other ones. So I think we'll be good to go. Get this thing back together. So one of the things you got to do when you're reinstalling your shifter lever assembly, you have to make sure that the reverse down in there, that's that, let me point to it, that one down there. So that's what shifts it in the reverse, that little like indentation. So that and this for your first gear, third gear, whatever the heck that is. So these two have to have a certain amount of spacing between them. You see the kind of, let me try to get you in here. Let's find a better way of doing this here. So look at the spacing between this and this. So that has to be in a certain orientation for it to go in right. Otherwise, it won't be a shift in reverse. So it's kind of in between neutral and reverse the way it is. So just gotta remember that when you're putting it back in. All right, getting that shift plate on took way longer than it should have ever. That was a pain in the butt. You have to make sure everything is lined up perfectly, otherwise it will not go together. Or it'll go together and it'll lock all the gears together and only work in reverse. So, but yeah, you just gotta be careful doing it. You gotta make sure the shifters are lined up, the shift forks are lined up properly with the synchros and the shift, yeah, you know what I'm talking about. So that was a pain in the butt. Not safe for TV, not safe for daytime television or children. So, but I got it on there and it shifts to the gears now. God, what a pain in the butt. And the whole time, you know, it worked fine the first time when I test fit and everything worked. I put a gasket on there with sealer. Yep, that's when you give you problems. But anyways, enough about that. We got that together. I'm gonna go ahead and put some paint on it because you can see I put some like terracotta primer on this and it matched pretty well for what was on there. So I'm gonna do the same thing with the rest of it. Just to cover it up a little bit. Maybe tighten that bolt. Looks like it might be loose. I didn't even touch that one. But anyways, yeah, so she's about ready to go in. I gotta still put the PTO on it, but I might wait till it's in the truck to do that because it's easy to get to. So yeah, let's get her painted up. There we go. A little extra protection on it. And I'm not worried about the bottom of it. I'll spray that once it's in the truck. So, but okay, we got the transmission back together. Like I said, just gotta wait to put the PTO on. I think I'm gonna wait till it's in there just because it's, well, that thing's heavy by itself. So you add in this chunk right here and it just weighs it down a little bit more. Plus I gotta find a keyway for this because I lost it. I remember it falling and I remember it hitting the ground, but I don't remember picking it up, and I swept up and took the trash and tossed it already. So that's gone. I don't think I'll ever find that again. So I just gotta either make one or find one. Not a big deal, it's just like a 1/4-inch piece of bar stock or something will work. So yeah, gotta do that and clean this up before I put it back on too. But this is ready to go back in once it dries. All right, so the transmission is in. I also discovered something. These bolts that I couldn't get a wrench on before, well, when you clean it out and there's no dirt behind it, a box end wrench fits just fine on them. So it was a lot easier tightening it down than it was getting it off. But transmission's in, just gonna hook the drive shaft up. Still gotta put the PTO on. It's not, I just got dirt in my eye. So that's gotta go back on. Parking brake cable needs to be hooked back up. But other than that, the transmission's back in and make it so we can drive it again. Now I gotta go rinse my eye out. All right, we're back to kind of being a driver now. Transmission's all put back in. I still gotta just push down that retainer. But other than that, got the shifter in. So now, when the brakes come, we can get those all together, take her for a real drive. Well, of course, the main thing is, this time I want to make sure it's got plenty of freaking gear lube in it. And I got the 85 140 weight just because of the noise. So might as well give it a little extra cushion by putting a little thicker oil in it. But yeah, once those brakes come in and I get that PTO cleaned up, put back on there, all that good stuff, then we can actually take this for a drive. All right, just got back from actually Oklahoma City for my wife's doctor's appointment. So stopped by Yao CarQuest, so Yao Auto Supply, and picked up the alternator for this little bad boy. So hopefully it'll work better than this one does. I'm sure it will. So let's get her put in. So this is pretty simple to change out. You got a 9/16 lower bolt here that loosens the actual mount. And if I don't drop the sockets, there is a nut on the back side of it. Got the truck up really high right now because we put the transmission in yesterday. Don't have a radiator, so I might as well go through the hole here. And the top bolt is a 1/2 inch. The top bolt actually gets replaced, so we ain't too worried about that one. Get the belt off. Get the bolt out, maybe. It likes to stick in there. So I don't know if you just noticed, but that didn't move once I pulled the bolt out. And there's a reason why that is, and I'll show you here in a second. Once we get her out, just kind of wiggle it like that, pop it back, and let me see if you guys can see that or not. Yes, you can. There's a sleeve right here, and that pinches it together when you tighten the bolt down. And putting it in is just the reverse. Nice new bolt. Put the nut on the back side. Get the belt back on. And then just pull, put some tension on it. Tighten her down. It's probably got enough, yeah. On the wiring, obviously that plugs into the plug. You got your charge wire, which goes to the charge port at the very top on there, and then your ground. So just gotta make sure those are all hooked up. All right, so we gotta tighten those down and then plug her in, test her out. Should know right away, because remember when I put power to it, it made the relay click or the regulator click. So if it doesn't do that, we should be good. Oh, look at that, so she's 7/16 still, or 11 millimeter. Make sure you put your little protective booty over the power wire, or the charge wire, or whatever you want to call it. Lucky guess, it's 5/16 or 8 millimeter. Here we go. Don't over tighten it because it will pull, rip those posts out. All right, so we should know right away just by touching power to it. It didn't click. So now we gotta see if it's charging. Bring you over here so y'all can watch the meter and I'll fire it up to see what it's doing. So the old alternator was actually charging and it was maintaining the juice to the coil, or to the ignition before. So I don't see any reason why, being a brand new alternator, Might be any different. I think the regulators are working. Let's find out. Definitely cold hardened. You don't have a choke, so that's half the reason. But they like to run first thing. It doesn't really, it's charging at all, does it? It helps to plug in the regulator. It's making some new noises. I don't like it. It's still not charging. That's the clutch. Yeah, it don't really charging, does it? Oh, the belt's not spinning. Why isn't this spinning? Did that lock up? Oh no, it's off the freaking crank. Okay. Why isn't it working? Because it's not. Great. I need a new belt now. All right, let's try that. All right, let's try this again. Still not charging. Well, maybe it's a regulator. I'm not sure what the problem was, but all of a sudden it started working. So, and I checked the voltage at the alternator and it was charging. I come back here and it's charging. So let's see what happens. We undisconnect the battery now. Should keep running. There we go. I also unplugged and plugged back in some cables over there, but we'll see. See, battery's disconnected. All right, so it is working. There we go. Charging really good now. Almost 14 volts. See what happens when we shut it off. So yeah, I don't know why I wasn't doing it, but there you have it. She's charging. All right, got the PTO back in there now. Looking all purty, all cleaned up. Transmissions look all good, all cleaned up. Now, the biggest thing we could possibly do good for this thing is put some fluid in it right now. So that's what we're gonna do next. See if it'll quiet it down a little bit. I think I'm gonna try filling it from the top rather than trying to go in from the side over here. I'll just pull that plug and then when it starts coming out, it's time to stop. And maybe a little extra. Well, I got the transmission and the PTO in. And I'll tell you what, it's amazing when you put fluid in. Now I'm still quart low because this has a PTO in it, but so I'm still a quart low because the PTO takes 5 quarts. I only had 4, but listen to this. Listen how quiet that transmission is now, even with the clutch out. Clutch out, not in gear. In gear, no noise. So, just a word from the wise here. If you don't want your transmission to make a bunch of clacking noise, make sure it's got fluid in it. So this thing's sat for 20 years. I see that the PTO actually is leaking from one of the seals. So that might be where it went. But so I have to figure that out. I got to figure out what those PTO seals, what they take. But reseal it should be easy now because it's just that cover right there comes off. I can replace the seal, I think. But I got to figure out what it is or how it seals. But it's just I can see a little running at the bottom of it. But yeah, that thing's quiet as can be now, which is exactly what we want. So transmission problem solved, engine problem solved. This thing's going to be a driver as soon as we get brakes on it, and that's going to be Thursday, Friday. It's Tuesday right now, so Thursday, Friday parts are coming. So we better get the brakes on this thing. and drive it. Well, we could drive it on the tires that I have, even though it's not going to be very comfortable, but they do hold air good enough to be able to drive it up and down the road just out front of my house in Mexico here. So that's what we're going to do. Get these brakes put on and get this thing driving. Well, I just got back from the junkyard. So I went to look for a radiator and figured, what the hell, I'll try this one. It was 65 bucks compared to 300 to replace one right now. I am going to order a new one from Champion, but I want to be able to get this thing to where I can drive it. So if that one leaks a little bit, I'll still be fine with it. But so we're going to see how it fits, and then I might have to do something different with the fuel system because it's going to interfere with that. But yeah, we got a radiator now, so we got to see if it'll work. In case you're wondering, even though this only has a 3-speed and I'm doing 65, 70 on the highway, it's still freaking, I'm gonna say, it's a hoot to drive. I love this thing. And it turns heads, so I like it. And so yeah, I like to take it whenever I can. Winter's coming, so it's gonna be even easier to drive it that when it's colder, because when it's hot, it's hot. But I can deal with the cold better than the heat, so. But yeah, it's fun driving it. So we'll take it over there, get her hose down, and we'll fill her up too, just to see if she'll hold water at least, and go from there. I think it will. At least good enough for what we're doing with it. But let me get these mud daubers nests off of here. That's the main reason. All right, we got our hose down. I'm gonna let her dry a little bit, and that way I can see leaks better. But you know, so we'll get that thing put in and hooked up. Hopefully it'll all work. You know, the hoses are a little off on size-wise, but actually, maybe not. No, the S10 was way too small, but we gotta move that fuel system. Brakes are coming today, all of it. So that's good. And today's Thursday, in case you're wondering. So yeah, we'll get brakes on it. Get that. That's why I went to the junkyard this morning, because I knew if with brakes came in and we could get those on there, maybe we can drive it. So let's do that. Let's get that radiator in there. Well, let's see if this radiator fits. Oh my God, it's almost like it's made for it. It even fits into the mounts. All right, so let's prevent what happened to the S10 one. That hose gonna work? I don't know, we'll have to figure that out. This one will definitely work. That'll twist around and go. But let me get a holder for this. I know I've got one around here someplace. Have to remove a zip tie. Can't believe how well this fits. It's almost perfect. About that sucking in now, do I? I got another one of these mounts around here someplace. I'd like to have them both on there. So when I find that, I will be back. All right, found another one. And now, that thing ain't going nowhere. So that ain't getting sucked back into the fan. And there's plenty of space there, so we should be good. I'm gonna rotate this around and attach it. Probably just fill, I got coolant and some, what's it called? See, it's a little bit small. I might have to put some kind of a filler on that. But I was gonna put regular water in it first. But I will winterize it if this radiator holds up. It doesn't leak too bad. Which means I'll put antifreeze in it, is what I'm saying. Okay, so what I gotta do to fill that? Can I use... That fits that perfect. I'll let it fit inside there. I think we can make it. I understand why in the 90s they started going so small on the damn radiators. And I don't like they did the heater hookup on the radiators in that time frame too. Now you just gotta block it off. Alright, so now we gotta see if this hose will fit. Now it will. Alright, so we got an upper hose on there. I just took a piece of, where'd it go? That hose over there. And it fit around the radiator port, and then this hose went over that, so it's got two pieces of rubber. It'll seal fine. Now this one I need a different hose for. So I need it to go over, down, and then kick out the opposite of this side. So it needs to go 90 the other direction and a little bit longer from this area here. So I'm gonna run into town, see if I can find something that'll work. Well, I got a text saying that the USPS has been delivered, which is should be the wheel cylinder. So let's go check the mail. All right, let's see. Ta-da! Rock Auto. Oh, and my water bill too. All right, let's see what we got here. This originally said it wasn't gonna come till Friday, so nice surprise that it showed up today. Wheel cylinder.
53, 52, 56, and 57.
Not sure which one's which yet. Can we get a magnet? What? No magnet. Oh, that's disappointing. What's up, Rock Auto? Where's my magnet? Oh well, so we got wheel cylinders. All right, there you have it. Front, left and rear, left and right, and rear, left and right. All right, just got back from town, and the very first one I picked out was the perfect one. I had to stretch it a little bit to make it go over the water pump and the radiator down there, but hey, it's working. So let's fire it up, make sure the water pump's working. But now we got a cooling system. All right, she's running. So as of right now, I'm just putting regular tap water in it because I want to make sure that the radiator actually holds pressure and all that good stuff. So that's all I'm putting in it for now. Seems like the water pump's working because the water disappeared. Seems it got sucked in, so. Got one crucial thing. I don't have any fuel going to it right now. So I need to get a fuel jug figured out here. All right, we got her running, got her cap now. See where we're at with temperature. Yeah, we're just below, we're actually about 180, something like that. Thermostat's at 180, so. It might have a little misfire. Thermostat definitely hasn't opened yet. So that means the radiator's not leaking yet. I'll report back if there's anything that happens. Start hearing something bad. Well, look at that. I don't know if you can see it or not, that belt. Just saying goodbye to the jack. So far so good. No leaks on the radiator, so I think we got a good radiator. Engine's making some noises I'm not too happy with, but I might just need some lifter adjustment because it's running through heat cycles now. And I need a new belt because this belt decided to throw a chunk. But what do you expect from something that's been sitting in the field for 20 years? So yeah, it's kind of missing a little piece. It was working, but not for long. But yeah, I gotta go back to town, but that's okay. Not today. Well, FedEx dropped off the rest of the brake parts, but I gotta clean up first so we have a place to work. So let me get this straightened up and we'll unbox these in a minute. Get into opening our boxes from good old Rock Auto here. And I'm not sponsored, by the way. This is all stuff I bought, so. But I do use them a lot because the prices are good until they decide to use 3 different shippers for 3 parts. And it costs you 3 times as much instead of just shipping them all from one spot. That's the only thing they gotta work on. These here are gonna be the AC Delco drums. They were the best price. Hey, look, there's a magnet in there. What did we get with our magnet today? Datsun. At least it's a new one. There's the drums for the front. We're not doing the rear drums or shoes this time because, well, the drums are 150 bucks a piece for those things. They're huge. And I'm not going to put new shoes on old drums, so. And same one, Datsun. Alright, so this one we have the shoes for the front and another Datsun. Got 3 of the same one. And these are the hoses. So we have 2 fronts and 1 rear. So this is the rear, these are the 2 fronts. 2 fronts are the same. 2 fronts and a rear. There you have it. Now you gotta put them on. So just a quick little comparison here. The old and new. So that's the old one. It's got weights on it and a sight glass to adjust it. This one doesn't have that. So hopefully there's an adjustment in the back. I can't remember. Of course not. Maybe these are the wrong freaking drums. They do look different. Well, let me compare them a little bit better. Well, I mean, it fits on the hub, just like it did on this, so I think it'll work. I mean, we won't know until we actually put it on, I guess. But I think I'm gonna drill a hole and slot it out like this, so we have the point to do that with. So, shouldn't be too hard to do. I mean, it is cast, but still should drill all right. So I took some time to clean up the hub, so it's nice and clean now. We'll repack the bearings. I'm going to reuse the bearings as far as, well, I haven't cleaned them up yet, but I think they'll be fine. So we'll just clean them up, see how they look. And if they look good, we'll reuse them. If not, then we'll replace them, but I think they'll be good. I've got to clean up the back plates here. And I'm doing my least favorite thing in the world, and that's cleaning parts. So I'm not going to show you all that because if it's boring to me, I'm assuming it's going to be boring to you guys. But so yeah, so that's good to go. I'm not going to maybe I'll spray some paint on it. But to get down into here is just a pain in the butt. So maybe I'll throw some rust reformer on it just to clean it up and make it look a little better. But I'm not too worried about it. So one of the things I'm definitely going to check before I get it installed, the brake cylinders, the wheel cylinders, is on the ones I did on the 2500, you know, pretty much the same parts, I think. When you put the hoses on, you lose access to the bleeder screw. So you can't get any tools on there. And what I ended up doing was figuring out where it needed to be, but I'm going to check and see if I can actually get a tool on it like this. But I had to grind down the edge of this this area here in order to be able to get access to the screw. So this is actually smaller. I think the ones on the 2500 are actually 3/8. I couldn't get a tool on there, but these 5/16 ones looks like they're going to work. So we have to clearance that this time. That's good. One less thing. So I went ahead and attached the hose to it because it'll fit through there. I just lost my cap for the bleeder. But anyways, so this will go through with the hose attached. And that way you can really wrench on it and get that thing tightened down and crush that crush sleeve, the crush washer. Because they're a little off on their sizing for stuff on this thing, but what do you expect for the cheapest place possible? But anyways, so this will go through just like that. Get the whole thing in there. Gotta pinch the rubber boots a little bit, and then get the screws put in. I need both hands for that though. I'm not gonna get too much into detail on this. Basically the long shoe, you see that's got a pad the whole way around compared to this where it stops right about there. That always goes to the back, and so does the adjustment lever. So those are the main things you gotta remember when you're putting these things back together. And I have it upside down right now, but so these gotta go. This little nub right here circles around this thing right here. So that's the way they go, like that. Those are the main things you gotta remember. Adjustment lever on the back side, along with the long one. All right, there you have it. The shoes are on. See the adjuster down here, and that'll spin this way to move it out. And it's self-adjusting, so when you press on it, it spreads these out, and this little lever goes forward or back and kicks that down. I guess it does go forward. And that's how they self-adjust. Kind of neat. But now you gotta figure out the rotors. The drums. Make sure they're gonna work. So drums definitely fit over it, and they seem like they're gonna fit good. We gotta get it put on the hub though, but I wanna pack the bearings, do all that stuff first. Then we'll bolt that on there. And then put it back on the truck. Some nice new brakes. I got this drum off on this side. It was a lot easier than that side because I actually took the time to loosen up the adjuster. When you do that, man, that thing just falls off just like it did on the back side. The driver's side rear came off after I adjusted it out. So take the time and do it if you can, if it's not so locked up. But it wasn't. I sprayed it down with some PB Blaster and got in there and I knocked out two big, huge, chunks of mud dauber nests in there. But it came off, easy as it could be. So take the time, get that adjuster worked out. All right, so I'm gonna show you real quick, after I get a light so you can see better. See that right there, that spot? That was the grease in the hub. So that tells you how old the grease is. It leaked out. Anyways, so I'm gonna show you real quick how to remove these springs. So you got two springs. There's three. Well, two that you gotta worry about the most. One is this one that holds the pressure on these shoes, so keeps them spring-loaded back. So you just use one of these tools here, a little hook on it. Just run it in there, get it up underneath the hook of the spring, and pop it loose. That's all there is to it. Same thing with this one down here. It's on a hook though, but you can do the exact same thing with it. Just get it hooked on there and off you go. This piece right here, it comes off kind of the same way, but it doesn't have the same amount of tension on it because it actually can move now, sort of. But if you remove the spring down here that holds the adjuster, then it relieves that pressure too. Or you can just pop it off the same way we just did with the other one. Just like that. Bam. Because that spring pressure is on the adjuster right there. Get this spring out of here and everything else will come loose. Voila. Those are still good. I think they're probably original, but they all have good tension on them and good spring back, so I'm not too worried about it. I mean, spring kits are cheap, but there you go. That's all there is to it. Just got to remove these little things here. Got a special tool for that too. This one's magnetic. It's a snap-on. Yes, I know a snap-on. Woo. But it's got a magnetic ring on it, so it holds onto the cap. You just hold that in there, twist it a little bit, and off it comes. Same thing with this side. It's like a little quarter turn and out she comes. So now the shoes are out, done, off. There's your adjuster. Down there's the spring that holds the bottom and the tensioner or the adjuster together. That's the self-adjusting lever, that's the adjuster right there. Get those off of there too, because we need those. That one, it works, so Easy enough. We'll clean it up, put some anti-seize in it. Good to go on that. And you should always take pictures. I just put one of these back together on the other side, so, and I've done enough of these over the years that they're pretty much all the same, or at least pretty close to the same. So it's really not that big of a deal. Now the hard part's going to be actually getting the wheel cylinder off, because we need those. Because there's very little room behind there to get it off of there. Plus we have to get the line off. Hopefully we don't break it while we're in it. But you won't be able to see that because it's too tight in there. I'm going to turn the steering column a little bit, the steering wheel. But yeah, fun times. Drum brakes are fun. Get this side fully assembled. You can feel a little bit of drag on there, just enough. But that's ready to go. So we just got to do that to this side now. So the way I usually do these is I get everything put on there. As you see, all the springs, everything's on there. The only thing that's not on there, and you can see I use some anti-seize on the threads. So naturally I become a tin man. But let me get that wiped off real quick. I want to show you how I do this. If you look down here, see how that spring's in right there? A lot of people try to put that in after putting this in, and that makes it almost impossible. So you can put that spring in first, and you just stick this in there and slide it. Yeah, I guess I do need two hands for this. And just pull it apart. And it's calling me a light. Oh, it's because I don't have it locked in. So you lock it in on one side and just pull it and get it in on the other side, and done, just like that. So now you can adjust it out. And get it tight. We have to go quite a ways out, because I know I adjusted over on that side once I get the drum on there. It took forever, so I'm going to adjust it out now. New rear wheel cylinders in. I'm not changing anything else. I think I talked about this before on a previous video maybe. The drums are 150 bucks a piece. So I also need, I'm going to need bearings as well. So I'm just going to do all that at once when, you know, the next month's budget allows. So this ain't going to be driven very much for the next, you know, at least month and a half, because I got to wait for the court paperwork for the title to come in. So yeah, so at least we'll have brakes that'll kind of work. Just we need new drums, new shoes, and that's pretty much it. Bearings. So we'll worry about that later. All right, so got the drum back on. Just got to adjust it out. I got to do the center hose and then the other side. And the brakes will be almost complete. I still have to clean up, which is the part that I hate the most. This other hub for the front. But I tell you what, one thing's for sure. This is the dirtiest vehicle I've ever had in here. Look at the mess it's made. So I gotta touch it, and it drops 10 pounds of dirt. Good old Oklahoma red dirt from an oil field. So once I get this thing running here, get the brakes done, we'll have to pull her out and really go to town and scrubbing this place, because it is just filthy. But that's what happens when you start working on these older vehicles. You make a mess and trip over the hose. But she does look good. Love this truck. I know I've showed this before, but just want to show you that I'm not taking everything off of this thing. All I'm doing is popping this spring off and this spring off here. That really, well, probably that little hook too. That way it releases the wheel cylinder, so I can remove it and just replace it, because that's all I'm doing on the rears for now until I get new bearings and new drums, because the drums, like I said, are 150 bucks each. So we can make it work with what we have here, and that'll be fine. So we'll lubricate that adjuster a little bit too. But other than that, that's all we're going to do with it. Just replace that slave cylinder, or not slave cylinder, the wheel cylinder. So just pop these springs off, and that'll be it for this. All right, axles are back in. So now we got proper, I don't know what I want to say there. The axles are back in. All the brake cylinder, the wheel cylinders are in. I got to adjust the brakes out, and then we got to replace the hose on that side. So that should be the last thing. Nothing's been fighting me, which has been great. So hopefully that hose isn't going to fight me. It's not the last thing to deal with. So, hey, look at that dead scorpion. My wife killed that the other day. I got this side adjusted out, and if you listen, you can hear it dragging just a little bit. That's what we want. Now we got to do the other side. Right, new hose is on. That went way smoother than I expected it to, but it's on and ready to go. So as long as all these lines, they all look pretty good. I don't see any real rust holes or rusty areas. So it's going to be a problem. So everything's tight, everything's good. So we can put some fluid to it now. Ugh. Well, I got my least favorite thing done. Got that hub cleaned up. So now I just got to pack the bearings, get it put back on, attach the drum to it, and get her put back on the truck. So then we can actually bleed the brakes. Hopefully the rears don't seem to be getting any fluid back there, but at one point I did have the rear fluid disappear, so it went somewhere. So we got to figure out where it's going. So I'm assuming it's filling the lines at some point, but we just got to get it bled out and we'll go from there. But can't really bleed it or pump it until we get something to stop that from spreading too far and popping. So we don't want that to happen. So that's what we're doing. Look at all the boxes. Gotta love it. I know it's kind of hard to demonstrate by myself, but that's not in gear. It's just what it does when it's in neutral. They do grab a little bit. I'm gonna show you the brakes are working now. And there she is. Got her wheels back on her. There's one wheel that's actually, or tire that's actually smaller than the rest. That's a 6.5, which is at least an inch smaller diameter. So I put it on the outside so it pulls me into a ditch rather than to another car. Not that I'm gonna be driving on the highway anyways, but because I just want to be able to drive it up the road real quick and back and make sure everything's working. But so on that note, anybody familiar with these trucks, these wheels you need a tube. You have to run a tube with them. What's a good affordable wheel I can switch over to that fits fine, that'll fit it just right? And I can put regular radial tires on or whatever. So if you know, let me know in the comments. Well, I think it's about time to take her for her first spin since I've had her. So I got a new fuel system. I got a boat tank and I spilled gas everywhere when I was trying to put gas in it. But that runs down to the original line, all the way up through to the fuel pump. Unfortunately, I only had 3/8 line. That's 5/16 fuel line, the hard line from the truck, because it's a V6, or I'm sorry, an inline 6. So they ran 5/16 line, but I'll change that eventually, especially considering it's probably going to be staying this motor. But anyways, I think it's time to take her for a drive. You know, it's been sitting for a long time, and I don't know if it's tuned or nothing, so well, I know it's not tuned. But it made it up the road a little bit, so not too bad for his first drive. The shifter is definitely funky, but yeah, not too bad. Well, this is how dirty it is underneath that thing. This is stuff I scraped off the rear end. Just my cement floor almost looks like a barn floor, like a good old dirt floor in a barn. Definitely have to clean it up. Not today. I'm probably sweep up this area, but the whole thing, I need to clear everything out and pressure wash everything at some point. Well, from everything I've seen and discovered so far, she's running pretty good. It seems like she's got a miss. Might just need some dialing in, some tuning. The carburetor sucks, so but the temperature, it's been right there, right around 190, a little bit, maybe a little bit more. Then for the last 20 minutes now, it's been running. And it kind of goes down if I give it some revs to get the fan going, and circulate the water a little bit more. You could definitely use some more dialing. It's very rough to drive, but what do you expect from something that probably has like, God, who knows, 556 gears or something in it? Something I started discovering, I figured that out, but overall I'm pretty happy. The brakes definitely need bled again, but they're working. So yeah, that's where we're at. Pretty good. This video here, we got the brakes done, got the transmission back in, everything's working. It does drive, it stops. But right now is unfortunately the worst part of this build, and that's the weight gain, because I had to apply for or petition for a title for it. So that takes a month and a half. So until the middle of November, when I go back to court, not much more I can do with it as far as getting it roadworthy. I can start getting some parts gathered up for it, but yeah, so that's what we're waiting. It's just a weight game now, which isn't a big deal apparently, because apparently the title process is pretty easy here in Oklahoma, at least, you know, other than the weight and the cost, but at least I'll have a title for it. So on that note, if you like this video, leave a like down there. Leave me a comment. Let me know what I can do, what I can do better. Subscribe while you're at it. What the heck, it's free. And everybody who's been here this long, I appreciate you being here. So until next time, I will see y'all later.